At some stage in our lives, I'm pretty sure we can all say we've picked up a Nintendo handheld and played a game or two. If you haven't, you should probably get yourself checked out and check yourself into a psychiatric hospital, because that is not normal. Over the years, Nintendo have released a number of handheld gaming devices that have brought hours and hours of entertainment to the world. With each new release comes better innovation into the future of gaming. The Game Boy Color, also known as the GBC, was released on November 27, 1998, and was one of the first handheld gaming consoles Nintendo developed. The Game Boy Color, as suggested by the name, features a color screen. It is slightly thicker and taller than the Game Boy Pocket. As with the original Game Boy, it has an 8-bit processor. As a part of the 5th generation of gaming, which was post-1997, the Game Boy Color's primary competitors were the Neo Geo Pocket and the Wonder Swan, which only came out in Japan. The Game Boy Color outsold both of these by a huge margin. The Game Boy and the Game Boy Color combined have sold over 118 million units worldwide. The Game Boy Advance is a 32-bit handheld video game console and was released in Australia on June 22, 2001. Nintendo's competitors in the handheld market were the Neo Geo Pocket Color, the Swan Crystal, the Tapwave Zodiac, and the N-Gage. But despite the competitors' best efforts, Nintendo maintained a hold on the market with the Game Boy Advance. The 3DS device is capable of projecting a stereoscopic 3D effect without the use of 3D glasses or any other accessories. Nintendo announced it in March of 2010 and officially unveiled it at E3 later that year. The console overshadowed the Nintendo DS, featuring backwards compatibility with older Nintendo DS games, and competes with the Sony PlayStation Vita handheld console. A partially redesigned version of the console, the Nintendo 3DS XL, was released late July 2012. It features screens that are 90% larger than the original. A new edition of the console, entitled the Nintendo 2DS, was announced on August 28th this year, but that's for another episode. So I just checked out some of the old Nintendo handhelds. You guys have any favorites?
My personal favourite was my first one, which was a Game Boy Pocket, and a little blue colour. Fortunately, sold that a year ago, which I hate myself for.
It's a relic.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
I pretty much had every handheld until the 3DS between them. But
3DS was amazing. I'd never actually used one up until that point, and I was just
Really?
gobsmacked. Yeah, I just
my
never got my
gosh.
hands on one. Get it? Handheld.
Crazy.
My bad.
what's your favourite, Liz?
I had a little Game Boy Color that was one of the little yellow ones that had all the Pokemon on it, and I got it to play Pokemon Yellow with, and I remember finishing that game on the toilet.
Great input.
Yeah.
That's
Always
awesome.
remember your first.
Yeah, you never forget your first.
All right. Now we actually have an interview with the guys of Assassin's Creed 4.
Hey, John McLeish here. I'm here with Michael, senior game designer at Ubisoft, working for on Assassin's Creed 4. G'day, Matt. How you going?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for asking.
Man, I'm so glad to see the enthusiasm. So, Assassin's Creed 4. I got to say, I'm really excited for it. The age of piracy, like generally people just go for that really boring Yarmy Hardies and parrots and the whole thing. But you've actually looked at it from a serious, real, like historical standpoint. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Look, we didn't want to do the Disney style, hook on the arm, parrot on the shoulder pirates. We wanted to show you the true story, the real gritty reality of what the pirates were really like, and the story of the Republic, and what these characters like Blackbeard and Calico Jack and Charles Vane, what these amazing pirates were like, in reality, and how they lived their lives. So we've been able to do that. We did a tremendous amount of research. We had a historical weapons and piracy expert, a guy called Mike Lodes, that gave us a tremendous amount of detail on how the pirates lived and how they fought. And we also read a lot of books and did a lot of research one of the books was a huge one for us was called The Republic of Pirates by Colin Woodard. And if anyone is interested in reading some more of the history behind Black Flag, that's the book for you.
Fantastic. Now, in Assassin's Creed games, we've always seen like a little bit of information on all the characters. Particularly, one that sticks out in my mind is Assassin's Creed, where when you first meet Niccolo Machiavelli, and you got a little piece on him and things like that. Are we going to see more of that in Assassin's Creed 4? Is it going to be more detailed, or like how's it going to work?
Absolutely. So we've got the Animus database, absolutely still in Assassin's Creed 4. You're going to be able to go into the menu and look at details on all the characters, Blackbeard, Edward himself, some of the other secondary characters you meet, like Adewale, who's your first mate. So you can learn about all the characters, the real history, what happened to them in the Animus, even things like animals, wildlife, locations like Nassau in the Bahamas. You can learn a lot of interesting historical facts for those who are into it in the Animus database in the game.
Fantastic. Well, I'm a big history buff, so I'm going to really look forward to reading that. So we've talked a lot about the story and stuff, but what's new with the Animus? Like, what kind of upgrades are we going to see in Assassin's Creed 4?
Well, in the Animus, I mean, the difference with the Animus this time is you're not playing as Desmond anymore. You're playing as yourself, the player. You work for Abstergo Entertainment. You're doing historical research on Edward Kenway. He did something in the past which is relevant to Abstergo and the Templars in the future, and you're going to see that in the game. And so that's kind of your new experience. We're changing it up so that we remove that layer from the player and you feel more connected with what's happening in the game. So that's the present day this time. It's going to be a little bit different, but we hope people like it.
Awesome. All right, cool. And what about some of the graphical upgrades and things like that from even just between 3 and 4?
Yeah, so this is the most beautiful Assassin's Creed game we've ever done on current gen. So we've got a beautiful open Caribbean world. We've got so many diverse, interesting environments. You've got underwater, you've got, plantations, huge mountains, you've got Mayan ruins and waterfalls and jungles, and there's just so much to see and do in this world that, we're really excited for players to start playing our game. In terms of the next gen, that's been a real amazing treat for us to work on next gen, because we can push those graphics and that beauty to a level of detail and immersion we've never been able to before. So we've got things like plant physics, where if you brush across a branch, you can see the branch actually move. You can see the plants, the leaves reacting to the wind in the game. You can see the water wash across the deck of your ship. So all that detail just brings you more into the game, and you kind of forget like you're playing a game for a little while.
Fantastic. Well, we've seen in some of the videos and stuff that have been posted online just how humongous this map is. Now, some games have always gone, yeah, we've got a huge map, and then they've made you go on this very linear path. How important is exploration in Assassin's Creed 4?
It's hugely important. There's so many different rewards you get from exploring this world. You need to upgrade the Jackdaw. The Jackdaw is Edward's ship, and you need to upgrade that Jackdaw to be able to even complete the main story. So you're going to need to go off to be distracted from the main path, go do adventures, go plunder a plantation, go dive underwater and get some treasure chests, and everything you get from the open world you can use to build up your Jackdaw, your crew, and make your ship into a really powerful little pirate ship where you can take on the giant man-of-wars that you see in the game. At the beginning of the game, you can't take them on. That's the first time in Assassin's Creed where there's been an enemy that you literally can't take on from the beginning of the game. So that's really exciting for our players to feel that progression as they play through the game.
Fantastic. All right, and finally, when's Assassin's Creed 4 coming out and what on?
So, here's the deal.
Yep.
October 31st, current gen, Australia, and then with the launch title on next gen. So in both next gen consoles, you'll get that as a launch title.
Fantastic. All right, mate. Thank you very much.